You're listening to Flush Your Fat for Good with Jackie and Dr. Vicky, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hello, thanks for joining us today. My name is Jackie Paget Baird.
And I'm Dr. Vicky Arcady.
And our lifestyle for a lifetime is Flush Your Fat for Good. Be lean and healthy for life. We've written a book about it, and we're going to share that with you a little bit later. This is not a diet, as we say all the time, and we have to say it all the time because a lot of people are very used to talking in those terms, such as, oh, how long is your diet for? Or what kind of diet is this? Or tell me about your diet, you know?
Yeah.
And there's two connotations when you say, so how is your diet? Oh, it's very healthy. But then they'll say, but what kind of diet do you have? And we'll say, well, it's a very healthy one. But then they'll say, well, tell us about the book you wrote regarding your diet. And it's like, no. You
or they
understand.
go through the list of the different diets. Is it
Right.
this? Is it this?
Right.
Is it this?
Is it like keto?
No.
Is it paleo?
Yeah.
Is it South Beach? Is it Nutrisystem? Is it Jenny Craig? Is it Lindor? It's like bada bing, bada bang, you know. No, it's actually like something you've never seen before. It's actually something that's not, we have 8 pillars to the lifestyle. And one of them has been around since 1850. And when you purchase our book, Flush Your Fat for Good, or you go to our website, flushyourfatforgood.com, you'll be able to see those pillars and understand what we're talking about. The pillars represent the support of how your entire life will run very, very smoothly. If you follow them, you will not struggle anymore. You will not have those 3 different sizes of clothes in your closet, mostly in the color gray or black, which I always say this. And then one woman said, she wrote on one of the comments, you girls are wearing gray and black. But they're not in
Black.
3 different sizes, okay?
Black.
It's a whole paradigm shift for you. If you have not joined us so far, we would love for you to be part of our Facebook page, which is Flush Your Fat for Good Buddies, and it's a private Facebook page, but we just ask you to answer a couple of questions, and then we let you in. But it's a culture of caring, so we really, protect it, since it is a group of people that are sharing their personal side. They'll show their before and afters. They'll ask certain questions. We have over 100 coaches for this Facebook website, and it's awesome. And you can join that. Either go to the website, the Facebook website called Flush Your Fat for Good Buddies, or go into our website, flushyourfatforgood.com, and there you will see that you can join the Facebook page. But the pillars are something that will take the struggle away, not only struggling with your weight, your fat, your cravings, all the issues when you're constantly on your mind trying to want to be less weight and look better in your clothes. It's a blueprint.
Yeah.
So that's
Step
what
by
I'm trying to
step.
say. You're not confused anymore. You're not like, oh, can I go to a Thai restaurant? Yes. Can I go to get sushi? Yes. Can I go to an Italian restaurant? Everybody says we have to meet there at the pizza parlor. Can I? Yes. You learn how to do it, and you don't struggle anymore. Mostly this is for safe, rapid fat loss. But it is not just to get, like I see on the commercials, your first 13 pounds gone, and boom, drop it. Right, and then 18 come back the next month.
Yeah.
But only because if you're following something that somebody is sending you prepackaged food and you have to eat that until you get the weight off, what are you going to do when you say, I can't afford that anymore? Or what are you going to do when you stop doing that?
Yeah, and you had a donut for breakfast, and you say, oh, okay, so I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to go have a donut.
Right.
Go to Dunkin' Donuts and
Right.
have a donut for breakfast.
Right. And
That's not going to work.
And when you eventually do flush your fat for good, and it's a habitual ritual, so you make it your lifestyle, and you're like, wow, I have an abundance of energy, I sleep deeply, I think sharper, my mood is better, my digestion, absorption, and elimination is like killer, it's awesome, and my clothes are just, the fat's melting off, everything's getting looser. Within the first week, you start to notice your clothes are looser. That's why we don't allow you to get on the scale. First day you get on the scale, that's it, throw it out. But the fact is that we want you to measure, but some of your measuring is just, are your clothes looser? And if you were in a size XXX and you're down to a 1X, that's the measurement you want.
Yeah.
Which, shout out to Dr. Ann, that's what's happened. She went from 3X down to 1X.
Right.
And another
I think she's
shout
lower
out,
than that now.
maybe, yeah. She's going to have
And
to.
you didn't measure yourself. You just, she just, got up one morning and her pajamas fell off.
That's my measurements.
and then it got to the point where she was losing so many inches that we had to go to an event. And she was packing and saying, what about this? And I'm like, okay, I am not going anywhere with you unless you go and get new clothes.
She refused
Why?
to go with me.
She says, why? I says, because your clothes are literally falling off.
It was like I was living in Tent City.
Yeah, I says, I can't be seen with you. Unless
We
you get
have
new
to
clothes.
do another shout out to Bob Hooper
Yes, and Joellen.
and Joellen.
They're coaches, both of them.
And they look amazing.
Phase 2. They're on phase 2, and they're back east in New
York,
Hampshire,
New
I
Hampshire,
believe. New Hampshire. It is-
We love you guys.
love you guys.
The reason why I'm thinking of a shout out for you guys is because Bob thought, well, I've got this thing down, to the T, man. I know how to do phase 1. I know how to do phase 2. And what was it? I see those
Cupcakes.
Cupcakes. I can have those cupcakes. I don't think that's going to be
It's
a
not
problem.
going to hurt me.
Right. What happens when you're so healthy and your body is so grateful for eating right, digesting right, absorbing right, no sugars, no white starches, and no partially hydrogenated oils, and no garbage, and you do that for a long period of time, if you really want to hurt yourself, do what Bob did. What did he say? He said
He did that, what, like 3 years ago?
I'll have one cupcake, and then
One
I think he did another one.
He did another one because that one tasted so good.
Yeah.
So he had another one, and
But
he
see,
said never again.
No, this is how you learn. You all can call Bob and find out. But
Yep.
I'll just tell you, he was sick as a dog.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to. My kids only learn through pain, so some people only learn through pain, and sometimes pain really tells you after a while when you feel so great, you have so much energy, you're like having 3 to 4 bowel movements a day. I know that's not
Hallelujah.
talked about on all the diet programs, but on this one it is.
It's huge for us.
Those are the pipes of life, and basically our whole book is based around digestion, absorption, and elimination.
And Italians talk about their bowel
Oh,
movements
yeah,
at the dinner, table. So,
right.
I mean, if you don't, what? You didn't go today? It's like,
Right. And then you get into the real, we don't talk about that right now.
well, my friend said to me, she goes, really? You guys talk about this right now? And I go, well, when do we all get together? We want to check up on everyone. And most importantly, bowel movements.
So you go around the table, did you poop today? So the reason why we're bringing up the word diet, which this isn't a diet, and of course the first 3 letters in the word diet is die, because that's how you feel when you diet. And then you might be doing good for a while, but what happens after that is you break that diet, you might lose, but then what happens is you gain it all back and then some.
That's because diets are temporary.
Right.
And we don't want temporary.
This is a lifestyle for a lifetime, and one of the most important things today that we want to talk about is the lifestyle for the family.
Yes.
So in Dr. Vicky's segment today, did you know that? We're going to talk about how to incorporate the family with Flush Your Fat for Good.
And yes, and one of the considerations that we both have and concerns is about the kids today. I know when I travel back east in a rural area where I came from, and my dad had properties, it was frightening to me and sad to see all the kids that are walking around that are, 40, 50, 100 pounds overweight. These are like kids that are 13, 14, 15, 16.
It never used to be that way.
No, and sometimes even younger.
Yeah.
And, obesity is globesity now. It's global. And in the United States, we're number one in obesity in the world.
Used to be Mexico.
Well, I think it's a disgrace that we're it's a disgrace.
I mean, America needs to be number one in good stuff.
Well, we are. We are number one in everything, but not this.
Not the health of the kids.
Well, I want to talk about the kids a little bit right now because, we don't want Flush Your Fat for Good to be something that you adults do, mom and dad do, and then the kids don't. They're not, they get a separate meal and you get your meal. No, you don't have to do that. Everybody can eat the same food. Everybody can join in on this lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jackie's family, which she'll talk about after my segment here, but it's not, and we have other people who have been doing this for years, and they have their whole family, the kids, the little ones, everyone is doing it, doing the lifestyle. Babies. Mm-hmm. But I want to talk about the effect on our children that obesity has. And I pulled up an article here, New England Journal of Medicine, and this was from 2005, but it says that, they look at life expectancy seriously because it's an important public component of things like Medicare and Social Security, which we're not of age for that yet.
No, I think maybe 20 more years. We're good liars.
But like I said, like we said, is their current concern is obesity because there's such a rise of obesity that it's a multi-system condition that is associated with obesity. You have elevated risk of type 2 diabetes, you have coronary heart disease, cancer, and other complications. And, this causes death. I mean, you can die from this. And they've done studies in Germany, and they found that 6,139 subjects found that the greatest obesity-associated excess mortality to be mostly amongst the young.
Oh, my God.
So for any degree of excessive body weight, young age is associated with greater years of life lost. Let that sink in for a minute. I mean, that's serious. And being overweight in childhood increases the risk among men of death from any cause and death from cardiovascular disease. It also increases the risk of cardiovascular disease morbidity among both men and women.
Wow.
The lifetime risk of diabetes among people born in the United States, this is from 2005, which is, many years ago, but I couldn't find anything very current, but we know it's high. But the lifetime risk of diabetes among people born in the United States has risen rapidly to 30 to 40%. And it's a phenomenon attributed to obesity, which makes obese, and it's because obesity is epidemic. And it's called globesity now. So having diabetes in adulthood increases your risk of heart attack by as much as having a previous heart attack.
And many people go and get gastric bypasses just so that they can bring down their diabetes.
And the life-shortening effect of diabetes is approximately 13 years. So you're cutting your life short 13 years when you're diabetic. And type 2, remember, is adult onset, and that can be controlled just by getting that fat off and getting down to a normal, healthy weight. You can take. I mean, I learned that in chiropractic school. In the textbooks, it tells you just get them to get the weight off and their diabetes will improve, their blood sugars will improve.
Right.
So the evidence suggests that in younger ages, disability rates have risen and fitness levels have declined dramatically in the United States, with both trends attributed to, in the younger ages, at least in part, to the rise of obesity. The incidence of type 2 diabetes in childhood in the United States has tremendously increased many times in the past 20 or 30 years, and that increase is almost entirely due to obesity. So, and shockingly life-threatening complications, including renal failure, which may develop by young adulthood in these children, in at least 10% with type 2 diabetes.
There goes your kidneys.
And you know, diabetes, when you have it, it's progressive. They just try to maintain it and maintain your health, but it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. You lose your eyesight, you lose your kidney function. It just gets worse and worse and worse, and not to mention heart disease goes right along with it, which nobody even mentions.
And gangrene, and you wind up losing your digits.
So, you know, this is, if the presence of obesity continues to rise, which it is right now, especially in the younger ages, the negative effect on health and longevity in the coming decades is going to be really, really bad. It's not possible to predict exactly when obesity among the young will have its highest negative effect on life expectancies, but they expect by the first half of the century we will start to see something, you know, concrete about and dramatic about what has happened with the young. So, since obesity we know has a negative effect on longevity, and it reduces the length of your life in people who are severely obese by 5 to 20 years, you know, we need to do something about it, and that's what Flush Your Fat for Good is. That's why we're doing this. That's why we wrote the book. We want to get into globesity and get people learned about this so that they can control their diets, get their families on it.
We want it worldwide too, because
Yes.
globesity isn't just now a problem in America.
Yes, that's right. It's all over the world. Globesity.
Global.
So another report in the New England Journal of Medicine says that the prevalence and severity of obesity is so great, especially in children, that the associated diseases and complications of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, kidney failure, cancer are likely to strike people at younger and younger ages. I saw on the news the other day a young kid, he was I think 10 years old, who dropped dead of a heart attack.
Really? Well, we had a 12-year-old with a 41-inch waist.
And yes,
that kid's doing great now.
and you know, the shortening of life from obesity can be greater than the rate of accidents, homicides, and suicides combined, the authors say. And because of obesity, children today could wind up living 2 to 5 years less than they otherwise would. A negative effect on lifespan could be greater, and cancer, I think cancer is going to rise in kids, and also the heart disease, which we're seeing. Obesity is such that, here's a quote, obesity is such that this generation of children could be the first, basically in the history of the United States, to live less healthful and shorter lives than their parents. This is Dr. David Ludwig, director of the obesity program at Children's Hospital, Boston. And he says we're in a quiet storm. We're in for the storm. We're in the quiet before the storm.
Yeah.
Quote, he says. It's like what happens when you have suddenly a massive number of young children start to chain smoke. Years later, it will translate into something like emphysema, heart disease, and cancer.
Accumulated all
Yes.
together.
It'll just erupt. You know,
Right.
it's like a pimple that just bursts. There's an unprecedented increase in the prevalence of obesity at younger and younger ages without much, obviously, public health impact. But, you know, they are looking at sodas and things, and like in New York, I think they tax your sodas. They add a tax to when you buy sodas. But that's not.
Is it making a difference?
That is not okay. I mean, they jacked up the price of cigarettes to what, $5-10 a pack, and they're still smoking. People are still smoking. But when the kids start developing heart attacks, stroke, kidney failures, amputations, let this sink in, blindness, and ultimate death at younger ages, then that could be a huge effect on society and life expectancy.
But then they're going to make better drugs to try to manage it instead of just change their diet.
So, as kids, we're really, when I I'm a diplomate in chiropractic pediatrics, and my specialty was pregnant women, but a lot of kids. I saw a lot of infants, newborns, kids of all ages. And when you're dealing with the kids, you're really dealing with the parents.
Right.
Because it's amazing how the kids would do whatever I would suggest. It wasn't a question. It was the parents that had to follow what I suggested. And I had little ones at 3 years old that I had posted what I wanted in their bottles, and like, fish oil or whatever. Babies love fish oil, by the way. I mean, they lap it up. They smell like little codfish when you pick them up. But I would have it, and I'd say, put this on the refrigerator, and whoever is making the bottle or their drink, make sure you put all these things, these several nutrients in here. And I had babies that if they were too lazy to do it, or the parents didn't have time to do it, or whatever, the kids would come back and grab on their, shirt and say, "Here," and they're like, "What? Oh my God, I didn't put that in there." So they ask for it. The kids know what they need. But the parents, here's an article, the parents struggle to keep the junk food out of their little mouths.
Yeah.
And here's a gal, Kelly Hall, 35-year-old working mother of 3 children, ages 3, 8, and 15, that's a spread, admits that her family eats fast food 3 times a week. And I'm mentioning fast food because I believe that fast food is one of the, and the junk food is one of the food groups or food categories that causes these kids to gain weight and put on visceral fat and become unhealthy and and clog the arteries. This goes for kids and adults. And
then you wind up seeing mood disorders as well.
Yes, we're going to get into that, but she says compared to her husband, who gives in to their children, whining a little bit more often, she is a strict parent who understands that junk food causes dental and other health problems. But everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. But her full-time job as a personal shopper in Washington, D.C., and her husband's job play a big role in making their children's diet not very healthy, it's unnecessary. It doesn't have to be that way. 97% of parents in the U.S. think that childhood eating habits determine children's health for their lifetime, but only 17% say their child's diet is very healthy, according to a recent national poll. This is from 2017.
There you have it.
By the C.S. Mott Children's Hospital. That's sad. To me, that's very sad.
It's scary.
Yes. She said, this gal, Sarah Clark, who is a co-director and associate research scientist at the University of Michigan, she said that there should be more understanding of how parents could provide a healthy, regular, healthy diet for their children. She says that parents should understand they're not alone, and she says 1 in 5 parents do not think it's important to limit unhealthy food, even though most of them know they should.
They don't think it's important?
They don't think it's that important, even though they know they should limit it.
Yeah, that's why I had an argument with the kindergarten class.
And it
Pizza.
It's a lot easier to give them what they want, but it's kids do better with discipline. And with what we have to share with you, this can be easily accomplished. We know, because we're going on 5 years here, and we know that we have several people that have incorporated this in their families. They eat all the foods that we recommend, and the kids do too, and they love it. But parents face several day-to-day challenges, but the main problem, 70% behind an unhealthy diet, is the high cost of healthy food, which doesn't apply
anymore.
It doesn't apply anymore because
Walmart.
You can buy organic, healthy food at competitive prices today.
Or just a Walmart. We could get goat milk.
You know why?
Goat yogurt, the organic fruits and vegetables, some of them.
You know why? Because of demand.
Right.
And books like this coming out and people being concerned about their children, hallelujah. It's starting
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yes. The next reason they said 60% is children's preference for sugary and fatty food. That is the number one thing. But also, parents with low income level and low education have a hard time determining which foods are healthy. That's 52%.
Oh.
Or those foods unavailable where they shop, which is 23%. There are stores where you cannot buy certain organic and healthy foods. I mean, that's a given.
Right, but the sugary foods and the kids really, really wanting the sugary foods is because now they're addicted because
Yes.
they're getting it constantly.
Right. But, I want to demonstrate to you the dangers of fast food. And there's 13 effects. Sam, please, can we have the slide up? And we can leave that up for a bit because I'm going to go through it. But there are, research has shown, and you'll see the slide, that frequent consumption of fast food leads to heart disease, obesity, headaches, acne, high blood pressure, dental problems, and high cholesterol. Diet also affects mental health, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
People with low quality diet, processed meats, chocolates, sweet desserts, fried food, refined cereals, and high fat dairy products are more likely to suffer from depression. This is according to Catherine Zaralski, a certified dietitian at the American Dietetics Association, which is wonderful that she is making this association, and I'm glad to see that that's happening. But you can see on the slide, headache, and it says, I don't know if you can read it, but it says, eating foods filled with sodium and the many fast foods can increase your risk for headaches. If you go to the right, depression. I just said eating fast food and processed food may increase your risk for depression. The sodium that is very high in processed foods, packaged foods, and fast food is very detrimental to your health. It causes hypertension, your blood pressure to go up. It causes, actually, Dr. Valenzuela, he said it actually causes nicks in your vessels,
right.
And that's how you put the plaque on. It damages your vessels when you have excess sodium. And they did a study or a poll, or they did a survey on people, and they had no idea of how much sodium they were consuming during the day on the American diet, average American diet, and they determined that they were taking in at least 1,000 milligrams more than they even thought.
And you shouldn't have more than 950 a day anyway.
Right.
Even that's too much. But
so acne. Look at that.
Yeah.
Acne is another cause, and it says the carbs here, not the grease, triggers the acne. The carb-heavy foods such as French fries, hamburger buns, potato chips may lead to acne breakouts. Now, dental distress, we know that. The sugar, all these foods have a lot of sugar, a lot of sodium because it tastes better. There's always added sugar, but the carbs and the sugar and the fast food and the white flour and the refined flours, that causes plaque in your teeth and causes cavities. And the sodas damage your enamel. That's pure corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup. Remember we talked about that? HFC.
Yep.
Heart disease or stroke. Well, we know this. Everybody knows this. You eat fast food and you're going to clog your arteries.
But the attitude, like which Coach Jennifer was saying, shout out to Coach Jennifer. She said, I knew junk food was bad for me.
Yes. But
I didn't know. She said, I didn't think it was really affecting me.
Right.
But she didn't realize all these things that were happening to her had a correlation with the junk food.
Right. So on the right side, you see shortness of breath. That's your lungs. Without exercise, people tend to get lethargic. They don't exercise.
Right.
They become obese.
Right.
And obesity can cause shortness of breath and wheezing. And even when you do minimal activity, it's physical activity, it's hard on the lungs because you slow down in your activity.
Right.
And today, the study I quoted from 2005, there's much more electronic action going on.
Oh, it's
kids have cell phones.
Anything that you just said, it's probably
Magnified.
doubled now.
So high cholesterol, that's a given. It
Right.
raises your HDL.
Mm-hmm.
Your
LDLs.
It raises your LDL, and that's the bad cholesterol.
Mhm.
Weight gain, we talked about that. You're going to have weight gain. Period. It's all junk. It's not. There's no calories. It's empty calories, we call it, and it's fat. It's high carbs, concentrated carbs, refined flours, sugar, and fats and trans fats. High blood pressure, I just talked about that. You get blood sugar spikes. That's because your insulin
Spiking.
is spiking.
From the carbohydrates.
From the carbohydrates.
The starches.
Yeah, and the
And the
potatoes
sugars.
and the sugars.
Mhm.
It's just a combination. It's a disaster.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Not to mention on the right, extra calories. You're consuming so many calories when you eat fast food.
But they're not healthy calories.
It's empty calories,
Right.
but it puts fat on because it has sodium, sugar, trans fats, and high density bad carbohydrates.
Right.
Guess what you get from the blood sugar spikes? You get eventually insulin resistance.
Right.
Because you're gaining weight, and it could lead to insulin resistance, which can cause you to have this nonstop curve and incline of weight gain without even trying. You're going to gain weight when you have insulin
and then you
resistance.
say, I don't know, I'm barely eating.
What about bloating and puffiness? You notice they have it on the legs. People get, edema in the legs.
Mhm.
They get puffy in the face. Underneath the skin, the interstitial spaces, it almost looks like it's puffy. It's tight. Their skin becomes tight and puffy, and it looks painful, which sometimes it is painful.
Mhm.
But that happens because you're eating all that sodium, and you're not able to release it. And with that, I just want to add, with all of this, people are not being hydrated. They're drinking they're drinking sodas for hydration. They're not drinking water. They're not. We have cran flush that we recommend because we're flushing fat, but they don't even drink water. They think that drinking sodas is enough to, when they're thirsty, they're drinking a soda and okay, that's going to help me. Well, if you're thirsty, you need to be drinking more.
Right.
If you get this ridiculous thirst. And remember the three P's for diabetes: polydipsia, polyuria, polyphagia. Polydipsia means you want to eat all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Polyuria means you pee all the time. And polyphagia means you want to drink, or the first one was drinking, and the last one, polyphagia, is eating. So polydipsia is drinking all the time. Unquenchable thirst.
That's when you know you have a child that's a diabetic
Yes.
as
So
well.
let me see if
Drinking,
there's anything
drinking,
else I have to say. But, I did want to say something about concerns. There are concerns that parents have, which we can answer with this, and you can chime in with me.
Mhm.
Concern number one, healthy food is too expensive. Well, they said meals prepared at home are cheaper than eating out, which we have found.
Yeah.
If fresh food is too costly, we don't believe in this. Buy frozen or canned. We don't do that. You can buy fresh food. It's available. It's everywhere
Unless
now.
you're in a weather-torn area
Right,
that
then
you
you
can't, then yes, frozen is best because they flash freeze, and it's always with vine-ripened fruits and vegetables.
And look at the labels too. and make sure there's no sugar and no excess sodium in there. Make a list before you go to the grocery store and only buy what's on the list. Don't buy anything packaged, and don't buy anything, desserts and all that stuff that will cost a lot of money, and chips and all that, the garbage. Just eliminate the garbage. Buy fruits and vegetables that are in season, and buy in bulk if you can. I mean, even Costco has fruit and vegetables now.
Walmart.
Right.
I couldn't believe my eyes.
Well, they say collect coupons and stuff, and there's deals at the grocery store every week, which is true. I look at those
You
deals.
do what you have to do.
Yes. Concern number 2, I don't have the time or knowledge for this. Well, here's the knowledge.
Right.
And our Facebook room, Flush Your Fat for Good Buddies Facebook room, flushyourfatforgood.com, and we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, and and we have calls. We have our
And people that say they don't have the time, you had to learn how to drive a car. You had to learn how to do certain things.
right. And the first suggestion they have is plan ahead.
Plan
so
ahead.
we have
Proper,
keep-
right, the 5 Ps. Proper planning prevents poor performance. This gets you not only better organized with your kitchen, with your family meals, and with how to feed yourself, but oddly enough, it transfers over into the rest of your life. How you're going to do your job,
Right.
how you pay your bills, how you fold the towels so that you put them in the laundry room, how you
Right.
all different things, even how you organize the countertop in your bathroom with hairspray and creams and toothpaste and it looked like a war zone. But once you proper plan prevents poor performance attitude, and you're in a habitual ritual of doing what you need to do, you not only have more time, but you're so organized everywhere else that you're more efficient.
And that's planning ahead, but they're saying if both parents work, or you're single parent, you work, make sure you spend your part of your weekend preparing for the week.
Right.
We have staples, that Jackie's chicken salad, that you can make for the entire week. It gets even better while it sits there.
The turkey soup,
And,
the veggie egg muffins, all of these things can be held over
And-
for 3 to 4 days.
And as you introduce your kids to these dishes, talk to your kids and find out what they want to eat, what they like, and what they want to eat for the week. Cut the vegetables up, put them in containers. We have that on our website. We have a video about that. And here's one that you did. Start early introducing healthy foods to your infants and also to your children. It gets harder as they get older. Make a piece of fruit or vegetable part of your child's plate for all 3 meals. Choose fruit and vegetables that are not over-processed, and do not eliminate all the different kinds of drinks. Just serve them water, maybe with a little lemon or a little unsweetened, not from concentrate, cranberry. Okay, concern number 3. My child is a picky eater. This is what parents say. And they say, a hungry child will eat.
Right.
But they can decide on how much, but the parent decides on what the family eats. Okay? Include healthy foods that the child already likes. If carrots are a favorite, have them often with dinner. Whatever they like. They mention yogurts here. Our kids love the goat yogurt and nuts. I mean, we have little ones eating that.
Yeah.
They ask that you be creative with your vegetables, like Jackie did. Talk about the vegetables. She had different names for the
You have
dishes.
to give them different, like the crookneck squash, right? And you cut them up. These are the
The little yellow ones that have a crook neck.
Those were the screaming mimes. Okay. Then we had the trees, which were the broccoli sprigs. And you just come up with names. We had certain dinosaur names. We had different kinds of things to make the kids be part of it. And they enjoyed it.
And make sure you eat too. You eat the vegetables. What did you call the broccoli?
They were trees.
Little trees, and
Yeah.
you had them dip in the mayo and lemon.
Right. Lemon mayo dip. And,
She called them little trees. Okay, you better eat your little trees.
we were going to put snow on the tree. Put the snow on the tree.
And then, you have different recipes. I know when I was little, we had, fast food had just come out. and McDonald's, I think it was. And there were fast food places you could go to in the town. But I liked what my mom made. She made incredible foods.
But it's a different lifestyle.
Yes.
And parents are not, you have two parents and they're working and they don't have foods available. There's not a mom in the kitchen cooking while they're waiting for dad to come home so they can
Right.
eat. But if you have foods already prepared that are easy for the kids to heat up, that are easy to go in, and after a while they learn how to make them themselves. Like
Yes.
Jackie's egg veggie muffins. You'll see this on the website, and you'll also see it in the workbook.
And
It's
in the
talked about the workbook in our book. Jackie's turkey soup is easy. They love it. They heat it up. The Jackie's chicken salad, you can make eggs with it. You can do salmon with it. You can do tuna with it. You start teaching your kids how to do different foods, and you incorporate them into your lifestyle, because you have to take what Dr. Vicki is saying seriously.
Yeah.
This is the future of your children. And the last thing you want to do is hear about your 30-year-old. Maybe you've got a 13-year-old right now. But guess what? By the time they hit in their 20s or 30s, they might be calling you or coming to you telling you that they have a serious health condition.
Yes.
And you get scared to death with what's happening.
One other thing I want to mention is that I experienced with her kids. They used to spend the night, and I used to take them to the farmer's market. Like her middle child, he would not eat fruit in the morning. I mean, her kids were raised with similar to phase 2, but mostly just food combining and healthy foods. Okay, grains and nuts and seeds and all that, very organic when possible. But I used to take him to the farmer's market, and he would eat that fruit, because you know why? It was picked that morning ripe, and it tasted good. These kids will not eat. Have you ever eaten a tomato? Did you ever eat a tomato from the conventional market? From
It's
the store?
tasteless.
It doesn't even taste like a tomato. Compare that with a tomato from the farmer's market or from your garden that's picked.
Completely different.
I mean, the taste is, it just...
Same with apples, same with all different kinds of fruits. And I've tasted, when you eat
Your kids, that's how we got them to eat.
The thing is, when you get... I worked in a supermarket when I was a kid, 19, and we'd go back...
Only a short time ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I was working at this market. You go, we would take a break, you have to have your break time. And we'd go back and we'd be sitting on carts or eating a snack or whatever. And I looked down, I'm like, what the heck am I sitting on? And I was sitting on crates of fruit, certain fruits. And I'm like, oh, there's fruit in here. But they were green. I couldn't tell if they were limes or lemon, what are they? These are avocados, tomatoes. Because they have to pick, because of the green harvest, it's called. And they pick them green. But the phytochemicals do not come into the plant until the point of vine ripening. Phytochemicals, that's the Greek word for phyto, is the plant. And the chemicals are the naturally occurring chemicals in the plant that fight cancer, that gives you strength, that supports your defense and immune system, that actually makes it taste great and protects the plant from the sun, from being burnt. So your plants that you're eating, your fruits and vegetables, are picked green. Many times the apples are gassed. They're picked a year ahead of time and they're gassed.
They're gassed.
But they have no taste. And until the vine ripening takes place, you don't have all those protective properties and you don't have any taste.
No.
So I would sit on these carts and crates and I'd look and I'd go, what the hell is this, And it turned out that it was the tomatoes. They were waiting for them to ripen and come to some sort of a color to put onto...
To be presentable.
On the floor. Then they would bring it on to the produce
They still
floor.
don't taste good.
So I wanted to say something. Are you just about done?
I'm done.
Are you done? That was very good.
We have like 4 minutes.
Okay. When you said drink too, because a lot of people, we have cran flush here, And we recommend this, especially when you're flushing
Yeah,
fat.
that's a good idea.
But in our book, we have some wonderful endorsements. One of them is from Cara Golden, and she's the founder and CEO of Hint Water. We're impressed with Hint
Really
Water
good.
because it's the zest of the fruit that is
Not the
in.
fruit.
It's not the fruit, and it's in beautiful, clean, purified water.
Yes.
So you guys might want to go out there. You know, when you get our book, look at our endorsements because I think you're going to be quite impressed with who likes and was part of our book and endorsed
Yeah,
it.
and that's a great idea. Kara, she did that because her kids, she wanted to find something that
Exactly.
wasn't, didn't have sugar, that had tasted a little bit different than water, plain water, and something that her kids would drink. And her, she wanted it for herself too, but that would be a great choice. And I know that she has specials if you go on her website. I know that she has.
It's called Hint Water.
Hint Water.
Another thing I want to say is go to our website, Flush Your Fat for Good. We have a coaching course if you would like to learn more about what we talk about all the time. Gives you not only confidence, you don't have to be a coach, gives you confidence to be able to help yourself and your loved ones. Also, we have our workbook and our books, but we have a thing called Starter Kit 1 and 2. Starter Kit 1 has the GLA and CLA that we highly recommend to start off with the supplements. These are essential fatty acids that help you to lose fat, and they do so much more wonderful things. The GLA is gamma-linolenic acid. Say that 3 times. And that stimulates the brown fat to burn the white fat. We did talk about this in one of our podcasts.
Yes.
The CLA is conjugated linoleic acid, CLA, and that prevents the enlargement of fat cells, breaks up your fat cells, and also it helps to establish lean muscle mass, which is what you want. It holds up your bones. Another thing is that we have different things on the website, not only with the book, the workbook, but with charts for food combining and low glycemic eating.
Our book, thank you all for buying our book. It's selling
Yes,
really
and
well.
we got some great reviews
We're getting
today
good reviews,
on
too.
Amazon.com, so thank you.
Yeah, Amazon.com, and I urge you to. We're getting reviews and comments that people are able to read this like a book, and that's how we wrote it. We wanted it to be readable, not like a typical diet or weight loss book where you can't read it. It's too. So we want you to please try it. Please get it, and let's try it for a couple months, 2 or 3 months. And, you could lose 10 pounds a month. I mean, that's what most of our
Those are the
people do.
women. The men lose more.
And we can, allow you to come in the room, request to come in our room, and we'll help you through this. You've got a lot of help.
Support is everything, and that's what we're about. So we want to thank you all for joining us. God bless. Until next week, be good to yourself.
Thank you, you guys. Get out and buy the book.
You're listening to Flush Your Fat for Good with Jackie and Dr. Vicky, only on LA Talk Radio.